Hello, hi guys, my name is Zia or Zaya, whichever one you want to call me, and it is Thursday and I am back with another review of The Wife. But the twist is I am no longer doing season 2 reviews for The Wife because guys, I tried, like, for the life of me, I really tried, because some of y'all really wanted me to do the reviews for season 2, but I couldn't torture myself anymore. I tried from episode 1 until episode 6 and it was just a whole lot of mess. It was just a mess, and I can't subject myself to so much pain, so much torture. I cannot do it. I didn't even watch the episodes today, so no. So we're gonna go back to our first love, which is season 1, and I'm gonna start from episode 1 until episode 15 because I only started doing the reviews on here from episode 16. So yeah, you guys see happy things when we almost got our olids in Mqhele and Hlomu. But anyways, let's get this video started. So guys, if you haven't subscribed, make sure that you click the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to comment down below on this video and give it a thumbs up. Also, share it with your friends. So episode 1 is titled Ice Cream. Those who read the book know what that is, and also people who have watched it. But yeah, title Ice Cream, and it opens up with Mqhele Zulu, guys. Yeah, it opens up with him and he's at some rooftop meeting up with some guy, so they don't really share the dialogue. Yeah, and he is smoking a cigarette, so the guy leaves and he's just like looking after him, and then it moves to the taxi rank and it's Unqoba, and he is saying the king has arrived. Such a Nqoba thing to say. He parks his taxi basically in the middle of the road, and one of the taxi drivers says, "No, dude, you can't do that." And he's just like, "I can do whatever I want," basically. He moves away from him, goes to someone else, and it goes to another taxi, and passengers are filing in, and Mqhele is trying to mac on a Beyonce. A Beyonce, typical taxi driver tendencies, and she's literally not giving him the time of day. And then she gets in the taxi and then he's like, "Do you know that these are my family's taxis?" But she's not interested, and goes back to Mqoba. He's talking to the taxi marshal and just like having a little fun banter. And then the guy who was calling him out gets out of his taxi and comes to him and taps him on the shoulder. And Mqoba smacks him, backhands him, and he falls. And he's like, "Do you know you do not touch this shirt? Do you know how expensive this shirt is?" So as he's saying that, one of the Mqhele brothers comes towards him with his goon, and he's like, "I get ziwa logu la ering," and he's just like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Is this one of your drivers?" And Gwaza says to him, "The thing is with you Zulu boys, you don't know what the rules of this taxi rank are." Mqoba is like, "What rules are you talking about? Because all you do uhlalela amagwinyala." And Gwaza is like, he takes his hat. Mqoba's like, "I guess tinta leso sigqoko," and he's like, "I'm gonna teach you a lesson today." And he's like, "What kind of lesson is that?" Gwaza calls these boys to hold him and they start beating him up, and then there's like commotion in the taxi rank. And then it goes to Mqhele. He's eating there, scoreboy I think, and yeah, they hear the commotion and Sambula comes to them and he's like, "What is going on?" And Mqhele stands up, gets upset. They walk past a taxi that has its boot open. They take some sticks out of it, so it's Mqoba, Sambulu and Kawe. They run to where Mqoba's getting beat, and the first thing you see is Mqhele kicks this guy who's on top of Mqoba, and yeah, everyone's just like fighting basically. It's like a scuffle, and then he goes towards Gwaza, and Gwaza says, "Usesemncane mfana, you don't want this." And then Mqoba pushes Mqhele back and he's like, "Leave me alone, brother, leave me alone. And then Ngoba turns around and goes to Gwaza. As he goes to him, Gwaza takes out his gun and points it at Ngoba's head. And Nkosana comes and pushes Ngoba back, and he's just like, uskhiphele isibhamu majon. Uskhiphele isibhamu, basically. And Nkosana basically reprimands Gwaza and tells him to leave. So Gwaza puts back his gun in the holster, and yeah, him and his goons, they go. And then it moves on to Hlomu, and she is sleeping. So the alarm goes off, and she's like, oh, Sandile. Guys, I miss when Hlomu was narrating this show. It was so refreshing. Like, it was nice because the book is in her point of view, so it was really nice to hear her voice. Her voice is so, like, I like the narration, and I liked the sound of her voice when she was narrating compared to when she's actually speaking. But yeah, regardless of that, so she says Usandile, and then she's like, oh, Piloyo. So she walks out of the bedroom and she goes to the living area, and Sandile comes. He's holding, coming from the kitchen, and he's holding his kaftan sake, it's blue, matching his lunch tin. And she's like, babe, don't tell me you're going to work. And he's like, yeah, they called me at the hospital. There's a patient that I need to scrub in on. And she's like, no, but you said we're going to talk today. And he's like, yeah, but I don't have the time. And then she's like, you always don't have time. I mean, we are clearly on different paths. And he's like, you know what, I can't do this. And she's like, okay, then at least wait for me so we can go together. And he's like, okay, fine. And she's like, yeah, I'll be quick. Like, just give me like 5 minutes. I'll be quick. And he's like, okay. So she goes to the bathroom, and he gets a call while she leaves, and it says, good morning, Dr. S. Guys, that person sounds like yeah, she says that to him, your patient has been waiting, and he's like, no, I'm on my way. So this man leaves without telling her that he's leaving. How disrespectful. Like, yeah. So he leaves, and then it goes to Kawe. So Hlomu crashes into Kawe's taxi, and Kawe is like, hi, fuck, man. Not knowing that fuck is gonna be his only dialogue in this entire series. But anyways, he says that and smacks his taxi door. He opens the door, he's like, are you drunk? So he's like screaming basically at the person who just crashed into him. So my mom was just like panicking in the car. She unfastens her seatbelt, and she's just like, oh my gosh. So Kawa is just like, pull her in your car. Like, he's just like screaming at her to get out. So she gets out. When she gets out of the car, he just freezes and stops talking and doesn't hear anything that she's saying. She's basically just like coming towards him and apologizing. And yeah, this man is just like in love. Like, he looks at her and he's just like so taken. He has hot eyes. Literally the world stopped around Khaled during that time, and she's just like apologizing and apologizing. He only starts hearing her when she says, here is my business card, it has all my information, so give me a call so I can fix your taxi. And he's like, no, that's not necessary. No baba nga ezwa ukuthi ngibhatalisa umuntu wesifazane. And he's like, are you fine? Are you okay? And she's like, yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm just like rushing to work. And she's like, please call me, Bandla, and I'll fix your taxi. And she gets in her car, and this man is stuck, guys, like stuck. She drives off, and he's like, yeah, ngizokuffonela. Okay, and then it goes back to the taxi rank, and Nkosana is reprimanding all his brothers about what happened. And the younger ones are just telling him that it was the Majola's fault who started the thingy, and they couldn't just like stand there and watch their brother get beat. And Ngoba's just like, I don't understand why you're including Abodado into my business all the time. Like, and Nkosana's just like, dude, I heard you're the one who started this and they are supposed to be in school, so you can't be telling me what to do. And then he tells them that they need to stop this. The Majolas are in charge and they need to follow all the rules. And Ngoba's just like, not with that. Like, they feel like, the Majolas feel like they are head of the taxi rank and they treat people poorly and whatever. So it's just like a whole lot of complaining. And Mqhele says that he understands where Ngoba is coming from. They do feel like they are superior to everybody here at the taxi rank. And Nkosana's like, Yazinwin, out of all of them here, you're the only one I thought would know what I am trying to do here. And then Mqhele just like keeps quiet, and then Sambulu apologizes, and also Kawe, and then he's like, yes, you guys messed up, and tells the younger ones to go to school, and then tells the others to go back to work and starts beating on them basically. And then it goes to Hlomu, and it goes back to Hlomu, and she's at the office. Her boss comes and she's like, she's late again, and she's like, who? Oh, Ulirato. And he's like, yeah. And he just starts going off, and as he's going off, she walks in and she apologizes for being late and says there was a problem at the taxi rank. And he's like, where is the first draft of the heist story? And she's like, you know what, I wrote it and then some issues came up. And he's like, yeah, you always have issues, you know what, you off the story, give it to Hlomu. And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, give everything that you have to her. And then as he walks away, she's like, oh, it fits you better anyways. Hlomu's just like, oh, he's so lazy. Like, and then he goes back to the taxi rank, and the younger brothers, Badalama, dies. So Mqhele comes towards them, and they're playing there, and he comes and he smacks Mbande on the face. And he's like, why are you not in school? Is this what we pay for university for you to sit here? That is very funny, because as the show goes along, it does not look like any of them go to school at all. So Bandit tries to have a rebuttal, and then he smacks his head on top of the table that they were playing on, and he's like, Ngisakhuluma. And then he tells them to go to school, because he doesn't understand why they're at the rank and taking money from all the people. So they leave, and they leave their money, and this guy that they were playing tries to take the money, and Mqhele just looks at him, and this guy just gives him all the money, and he walks away. And then it goes to Hlomu, and she's leaving work. So she gets into a car, and she tries to start it, and a baby girl is not working. Sis is just saying, I am not going anywhere. And then she narrates again, and she's like, oh, car, like, not again with this car. And she gets out of the car, and she opens the bonnet, and there's just like smoke coming out, and she's just like, Manjula smoke is booming. And she looks around, she's like, anyone help me? Can anybody help me? Like, nobody's there. And then she's like, it looks like nya walk, and I'm like, so she takes her stuff and she starts walking. And then it goes to Nkosana, and he is with Ubaba Wabo Majola. Yeah, he is the chairman of the association. So Nkosana is there to apologize for what happened earlier on at the taxi rank. And this man is just all the way disrespectful. So it actually shows that the apple didn't fall too far from the tree, because his kids are just as foul as he is. So yeah, so he's basically just like tearing him down and calling him names. And Nkosana's just like trying to apologize for his brothers, and that it will never happen again, and that he wants to pay a fine. So as he's talking to him, the brothers come in, all three brothers. There's a younger one who is not really as involved as the two. So it's Geja, Gwaza, and the younger one. I don't know his name. So they come in, And then Gwaza's just like, what is he doing here? So he called him some name, I just forgot what it does. And Nkosana doesn't say anything. And his dad says basically he's here for whatever reason. And Gwaza's like, they want blood to runneth over, basically. And if that's what they want, then blood is gonna be spilled. And his dad is like, no, that's not what I want. And then tells Nkosana to leave. So Nkosana leaves, and then it goes back to the taxi rank, and it's Mqhele and Mqhele, and Mqhele is telling Mqhele about the girl that he saw today. It's like, Yazi Bafo, I have never seen a girl as beautiful as that one. Like, never in my life have I seen a girl as beautiful as her. And Mqhele's like, when I bogusho kanjena nango Rosalina. And he's just like, Rosalina, when I fogo funga. And as they're talking, Hlomu comes towards the taxi that they're standing by. She's about to get on the taxi. And Mqhele looks over and sees her while Mqhele is talking. Mqhele is basically like, and it was like, literally what he's saying is exactly how Mqhele is feeling at the current moment, because he is also just like looking at this girl and he can't take his eyes off of her. And Mqhele is just like talking ati ngiyakutshela uzoba umakoti wakaMageba, like uzobe ahambe emagcekeni wakaMageba. And Mqhele just snatches the keys from Mqhele's hands, and Mqhele's like, where are you taking my keys? He gets in the taxi and he's like, are you ready? And Mqhele's like, yeah, the taxi is full, and closes the door. And then when Mqhele looks in and he's like, that's the girl I was telling you about. Mqhele, that's the girl I was telling you about. And Mqhele starts the car and he's like, Asami. Mqhele's like, Mqhele wenzani? Like, Mqhele, what are you doing now? Mqhele drives off. And in the taxi, Mqhele keeps on stealing looks at Hlomu. And she also just like, when you can feel when someone's like staring at you, and she's just like, hey. And like Maskandi music is playing in the background, and Mqhele just keeps on looking at her, and Hlomu narrates again. So Hlomu is just like, Umbugelani lo makez, unongomo, Maskandi music. And Mqhele looks at her again, and then he looks away, and then he looks at her and says to her, it's an ice cream. And she's like, yeah, why? And then he just gets quiet. And this man takes a detour and gets into a yard where it has an ice cream truck, and the passengers are complaining, and he's like, hey, it takes mile. Guys, this man, he gets out and he almost literally runs over two passengers who are standing by the ice cream truck. And he gets out and he literally gets in the front, and he's like, Sylvia. And Sylvia's like, Mqhele. And he's like, yeah, can I have 2 ice creams today? And a guy in the taxi is like complaining, telling Mqhele that they are late. Can't you see that they are late? And he's like, I fall off when. And Hlomu was just like, I get him. I felt for you. And then Sylvia's like, you're not even gonna take Saviet. And Mqhele's like, no. Takes the ice cream, gets in the car, and then he's like, Kolentoras. She's nails. Girl, you're blush love. Francis Bamni's ice cream. And then Mqhele drives off and stops the taxi again. And literally, he doesn't even go out of the yard. Stops the taxi and tells the people to get out. And they're like, how, you can't do that. Then give us our money. And he's like, hey, he didn't. He literally didn't. He literally stopped the taxi, opened the door, and told them to get the F out. And Hlomu in the front is like, scali imali yethu, scali imali yethu. And he's like, hayi wena ntokazi. So everybody else must get out except for her. The disrespect. Like, but anyways, it was like a really cute gesture. So everyone gets out, and then it goes to the house. So it goes to the house, and Mqhele is sulking. Like, he's sulking. It's like someone took his stock sweet, someone took his toy. So Kasana comes and he's like, Anphelele, Mqhele. And Mqhele's like, Angmaz, Nandab. And then Samuel says, but Mqhele, he's gonna be here any minute now. And Kosana's like, okay, yeah. And then tells the younger brothers to leave and check on the taxis. And he sits down and he goes back to Mqhele and Hlomu in the taxi. So yeah, they're driving and Hlomu's eating her ice cream. So he looks at her while she's eating her ice cream, and then he says, and she's like, bolting. And he's like, yeah, phone. And she continues eating the ice cream, and he says, and she's like, in. And they are by the robots, and he says, love at first sight. And she just looks away and continues eating her ice cream, and he says, azange ngicabanga ukuthi nami izongishaya lento. And she blushes and she just shakes her head, and then it goes to them again, and now they are by her building outside, and they're standing outside the taxi in front, and Mqhele says to her, turns to her and says, usuku lokuqala nje songimema ukuthi ngingene. And Hlomu chuckles, and she's like, angikhumbuli ke mina ngokumema. And he gets closer to her and looks at her, and he says, awushongo kodwa ngizwa ngale ndlela ophefumula ngayo. I've always said this man and words, guys. Uyakwazi ukushela Mqhele. And she, like, her breath hitches, and she looks away. And then he says to her, he holds her hand, and then he says, it's a pity that I already have plans with my brothers, so they can finish it later. And she's like, hi bo, was it temp? And he's like, yeah, next time. So right? Baby girl was gone. She was gone. She was smiling. She was blushing. She didn't want to show it. And then she lets go of his hand, and she walks into her building, and he just looks at her and lights his cigarette and smiles. And then it moves to Hlomu in her apartment. She's busy on her laptop. She gets a call, and this person says they have a tip. She must be at corner Rissick and Smith. Yeah, I think so. And yeah, there's something that's gonna go down there. She quickly changes, takes her keys, no car, takes her keys, and she walks out. And then she gets to corner main and Rissick, and yeah, there has been a cash and transit heist. So she's only there for the aftermath, and there's money flying everywhere. There's people on the floor who are dead. And then she looks around. So when she is looking around, it's showing what actually happened for the scene to look the way that it did. So it shows the people who hijacked the cash in transit. And then she looks down and she sees a plate number. She takes her phone and she takes a picture of it, and then it moves to the people who actually just did the heist, and reveal it's the Zulu brothers. So it's Mqhele, Mqhele is the driver, Sambulo, and all of them basically in the car, and they're just like celebrating that they did this. And as Hlomu is taking the picture, the cops get there and basically tell her to put her hands behind her back, and she does, and she's like, ngizobathola Labo Kuluva. Yeah, Labo Kuluva. And then it ends with that, and then it goes to episode 2, which is Otherwise Engaged. Episode 2 opens up with Hlomu still at the scene, and she is talking to one of the detectives, and she's like, don't you think the people who did this heist are the same one who've been doing the heist months ago? And this guy is basically not trying to hear what she's saying, and he's like, the problem is you were here and you almost got shot and you could have tampered with evidence. Do you want me to put you in the police van and take you to the station and question you? So she just like keeps quiet, and then it moves from them and it goes to the brothers, and they have bought new taxis, 5 new taxis coming in, and yeah, the younger ones are like celebrating, they're like hululating kinda, but like also just saying their clan names. And yeah, so everyone's just like happy about that, and Kosana's like, yeah, you young ones, you have seen the taxis, now you can go to school because this is what you wanted to see, so now you can go to school. And Kawa says he's gonna go and prepare the braai stand so he can buy some meat, and they ask him where he's going, and he's just like, aye. So he leaves, and it goes to Hlomu, and she is with Babukumbi. So she is saying Babukumbi's clan name, and he's just like celebrating and ending with her, and then he says hers back to her. And as they are going back and forth, Hlomu looks to the side and sees Mqhele, and she's just like, Mqhele? And she asks Kumbi to excuse her. She goes to Mqhele, she's like, Mqhele, what are you doing here? And she's like, Ngizolanda wena. And she's like, you know you can't be here. What are people gonna say? And Mqhele's like, abantu bazohlala bakhuluma. And Hlomu was just like, and he's like, do you know how beautiful you look when you're angry? I love him. So he says that, and she looks away, and Babkumbi is just like, hey, is there a problem here? And Hlomu was like, no, Oput says ohamba, nami ngibamba iteksi. And Mqhele's just like, basically apologizing, like acknowledging this older man. And Hlomu goes to the other side of the road, and she's trying to call for a taxi. And Mqhele stands and looks at her, and he's leaning on the car with one of his hand in his pocket, and Hlomu tries to stop the taxi. It passes, and she's just like, how? And then there's like, she looks on the side and she looks that side. There's literally nothing, guys. It is crickets. It's so quiet. Some Mqhele is like, and she's just like thinking, oh my goodness, I have no other option right now because I need to get to work and there's no taxi, and here is this man. So she just like gives up, and she crosses the road again, and he's like, yeah. And he's like, let's get you inside. And he opens the door for her, and she gets in, and she sees, before she gets in, she sees the cup of ice cream, and she's like, how ganti ice cream into Zakovel? And she smiles, and she gets in the taxi, and they drive off, and they get to her work, and Mqhele gets out and is like, don't open the door, he'll do it. So he goes over and opens the door for her, and she's like, ngiyabonga bhuti for a lift. And he's like to her, ube nosuku lumnandi oluhle njengawe. What? How can you not fall? How can you not fall? So he says that, it's like, ube nosuku lumnandi oluhle njengawe. Like, she is like blushing. Gone, guys. Gone. My thing was gone. Gone, girl. So she's like, smiles, and she shakes her head. Good see. Something like that could come out from him. And then he looks at her and he lights up his cigarette. She gets in and she's just like, morning. Like, she's literally greeting every person that she sees, even the people that she probably doesn't like. But she's looking like someone who's got it all this morning, and yeah, she's in good spirits. So yeah, she's greeting everyone. Hi, no, whatever. And Lorata's like, ooh, sorry to ruin your glorious morning, but Lux wants to see you. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she puts her stuff on her table, like she's taking her time. And Lorata's like, excuse me, now. And then she's like, okay. And then she walks to the office and she sees the detective through the blinds, and she's just like, shit. And she gets in. The minute she gets in the door, Lux goes off at her and like, are you crazy? What were you doing there? You could have tampered with evidence. You're not supposed to do this. You know that the informer has a great relationship with the SAPS. And Hlomu was like, I'm sorry. And he's like, don't apologize to me, apologize to the detective. So she does. She apologizes to him. And he's like, as long as it doesn't happen again, because if it does, the next time I'm going to arrest her. And yeah, Lux says, no, it's never going to happen again. And detective leaves. So when he leaves, Lux starts laughing. And Hlomu was like, oh, so and he's like, yeah, no, I just had to do it for him. And he's like, no, but I want you to be safe because I don't want anything happening to you. So what did you get? And then it goes to Nkosana and Mqhele at the house, and they're counting the money. And basically Nkosana is dividing the money into wherever it has to go. And he says, this is for who, this is for that, this is for us. And as he's doing that, there's a knock at the door. Mqhele stands up and opens the door, and it is one of the detectives who was at the crime scene that Hlomu was at. And Nkosana says, thank you for keeping away your other colleagues away from our tail. And Goba's like, yeah, Zana's like Izana type of vibes. And then they give him a stack of money, and he says, Nai, hambuz tolela lemonade. Really? And he thanks them, and Mqhele asks him about the number plates. So what about the number plates? And he's like, yeah, they got that into evidence, but don't worry, I will make sure that it's not there, because even the person who is doing the case, is in charge of the case, doesn't really know much. And yeah, he starts talking, and Mqhele is just like over him, basically telling him to go. So he pushes him out the door, and then as he closes the door, Mqhele turns around and is just like, he has Umbande is doing a reckless job. He only had one thing, and Nkosana's just like upset that Mbande got this wrong. So it moves and it goes to Hlomu at work, and she's busy, and that's just busy on her phone. And then she looks at Hlomu and she says, what are you doing? And Hlomu says, the love triangle case. And she's like, oh, he has Utando. This is why I don't want it if it makes people do crazy things like this. And Hlomu is like, how, when? Week in, week out. And Lorata's like, oh, that's an economic transaction. There's no love there. And she's like, wait until someone else, wait until one of them falls in love with you. And then Lorata looks away. And then she's like, yes, it takes a rank. There was this guy who was trying to mac on me, talking about some band. And she's like, imagine a taxi driver, Pezguam. It's the confidence for me. And then Hlomu gets her face, because I think she thought of Mqhele in that moment. And then she just continues doing her work. And then Lorata's like, oh, Busandile, isn't today supposed to be your anniversary? And she's like, Chum, she's like, lawyer. You can't let this man get away, because you know they don't come around easily. And then Hlomu's just like, she's like, plus you're lucky you get it every night. And Hlomu just looks away, and she's like, friend, don't tell me you're one of those couples who only get it in once a month. And Hlomu gets closer to her, and she's just like, no, we haven't done that. And Lorata's like, huh? And she's like, Nsayin Dombi. Lorata just looks at her and she's like, what? And Hlomu is like, yini? And she's like, what, friend? What if the sex with Sandile is whack? Or on the night of your honeymoon you find Guti I vugi or I and Filani. And she's like, siya Filan, Masqabulana bangibamba siyafika. And I was like, what? Manqabulana. And then she says, so I'm guessing no sex before marriage. Oh, that's not childish. Well, so Hlomu just looks at her just like, oh, no, I don't have time for you. And she carries on, and then she starts packing her stuff, and she's like, hi, where are you going? And she's like, I have to work, not like you. That's how I thought you were still gonna tell me about something. And she's like, no, I'm fine now. I'm a real journalist. And she's like, oh, yes, we are bored. And she takes her stuff and she leaves. And then it goes to the taxi rank, and Mqhele is busy buying peanuts there, and Kawe is walking towards him. And he's just like, Yazwin, when I'm Mqhele, and Mqhele is just like eating his nuts, and he's just like, oh, what are you talking about? And he's like, I told you how I felt about that girl. I told you. And Mqhele is just like looking at him. And he's like, I get kushukuthi uzo kubeka upupe. Because that is not happening. He has made more leeway than Kawe has. Kawe has her number. Kawe is still upset about what had happened yesterday. Kawe, you have her number. Call her. Call her. And yeah, but no, Kawe's not gonna do that. And Mqhele says that, and then Kawe gets upset and pushes him. Oh, and smacks the peanuts out from his hand. And they scuffle for a little bit, and then Nkosana and Ngoba come, and they just like, what is going on? Like, they break them apart, and Nkosana's like, Yini, hey guys, it's crazy, have you lost your mind? Someone is just like sitting there, he's laughing, rolling his joint, and Kawe says, Mqhele ngithathele uthekeni. Guys, I can't. And because like, she wasn't yours. What she wasn't, and she still isn't. Like, Axel, why? Okay, at this moment, she's not any. She doesn't belong to neither of them. Like, literally, she doesn't belong to neither of them. And someone is just like, you fighting for a girl, and Kosana's like, Nifuna, amantamzan, I will get you a lot of girls and put them in the taxi, and you can do whatever you want with them. And he's like, no, you know what, we need to go. So they leave, and Kawe's just like upset. I fall off when basically, and Mqhele laughs at him, and then they walk away. And then it goes to Hlomu, and she is doing her investigation. So she goes into this plate number shop in town, and she greets the man. The man greets her, so it's a very lively conversation. And then she says, do you know if this plate number was sold here? And this man's like, oh, let me check for you. And then he checks, and he changes, because it looks like, yeah, the plate number was sold here. And then he's like, Ubani, and he's like, oh, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't even introduce myself. I work for this newspaper, and I'm doing an investigation on the heist. And this man is just like, it wasn't sold here. And then she's like, oh, like immediately. And then as she is going out, this man calls her. It's like, hey, you need to be careful with this investigation of yours. And then she's like, why are you asking? And then he keeps quiet. And then she's like, oh, Gushugutu. And then she smiles and she walks away. And then it goes to the boys, and they are meeting with Ubabu Majola. And they're trying to talk him into letting the new taxis into the routes. And yeah, he is like, he's very disrespectful, guys. Like, I don't have time to be repeating what he was saying. So yeah, he's just disrespecting them, and they all just sitting there and just listening to him. And his sons come in. Oh, one of his sons come in, the youngest one. And the two older ones follow him. and then he says they need to leave or something like that. And then Ngoba stands up first and puts on his hat, and yeah, they basically go. And then it goes back to and then it goes to Umbande at the tavern. He is trying to sell someone sneakers, and Kosana and Kawe get there in Kosana's car, and yeah, he's busy there trying to sell, and the first thing that Budumdala does is strangle him, holds his throat, and he's like, what did I say to you? What was your job? And he's like trying to breathe, and he's like, what was your job? And then he says, what did you do? Because you didn't do it right. The next time you better get it right. And then he lets go, and he slaps him also. During the time he slaps him, and then he lets him go. And then as they're walking away, he's like, yeah, vele mina because me dandan. And he drinks. And wasn't Mqhele the only person in the family who didn't drink? I don't know if I'm mixing it up. Not Mqhele, Bande. It wasn't Bande the one who didn't drink in the family. But anyways, yeah, they leave, and it goes to Hlomu. She's leaving work, and Mqhele is there waiting for her, and she's saying bye to her colleagues, and she passes him without saying anything. And I think it was because of what Lerato said. If Lerato didn't say what she said about my guys are on top of me, the confidence, she probably would have gotten in that taxi again. Mqhele doesn't say anything. He drops the cigarette he was smoking, he lights another one, and he just watches her walk. Goes to Hlomu at her place, and she is fixing up things for dinner for Yena no Sandile, and she pours herself a glass of wine, and she sits and she waits and she waits and she waits, and she calls him, and it goes to voicemail, and yeah, she puts her phone down. Now she's annoyed because she's been sitting there. Even the candles, you can see they are dying. And then the phone rings, and I think she's thinking it's Sandile, so she smiles, and then yeah, it doesn't have a number, and then she says Mahlomu Dladla. And he's like, yeah, and she's just like, how did you get my number? And he's like, so are you still adamant about not going on this date with me? So as he's talking, Sandile walks in, so Hlomu hangs up, and then Sandile's like apologizing for being late. And she drinks her wine, and he tries to kiss her, and she swerves. She literally just like, don't kiss me. He's like, Sandile, uma uyibuka nje le relationship yethu sasebenza? Hayi phela ngiyabuza nje ngoba ngibona ngathi imizamo yami ayiphelele emoyeni. 7 years yonke Sandile, lutho umshado, udokotela wonke. And he's like, how? You know what? I left my shift at work early so I can be here because you wanted to celebrate. And I get here and I find this. Ati, you said you wanted a proposal. I propose. And then you said you wanted to have this dinner. And where am I? I am here. What more do you want from me? And I'm thinking, this man, so he only proposed because she said she wanted to get married? Loser. And then he's like to her, Ujaheni kanti emshadweni ungakwazi nokulala nami. And Hlomu is like, how? Booty. Kusho ukuthi bozenzisa uyenza ngathi I understand. Hayi ke booty. Ngizigcinela umshado and lokho akuchange. And he's like, I'm focusing on my career and that's not going to change. And I am at work every day and I have so much to do. And when I come back home, all I want is a peace. But all you give me a headache. And Hlomu was just like, oh, okay then, I will leave so that I don't give you a headache. And then she stands up, she pushes her chair and she walks out. And he's just like, Hlomu, you can't go out. Hlomu, you can't go out at late, so late at night. Guys, Osandile. Hi, booty. Ah, yeah, guys. You don't say those kind of things. Clearly, he's in this relationship just so she can give it up. And sis said she is waiting until marriage so he can forget it. So anyways, it goes to the brothers, and it's only the three youngest one in Mqhele bayaqiniswa. I don't know what it is in English, guys. Like, yeah, bayaqiniswa, there's isangoma there, and he is performing a ritual for them to be strong and protected. And yeah, he's doing his thing, and we have Mqhele, whatever. And then it goes to the taxi rank, and it's the Majola brothers there. And Mqhele and them stop the taxi, and they come out, and Mqhoba's just like laughing at the brothers, and Geja's just like, oh, dude, you again. And basically Mqhoba started the fight with them, and Ngoti takes out his dingaling and starts peeing in front of them. How disrespectful. And Ntsiga is in the taxi, and he's showing them his butt, guys. Hi, and then the Majola brothers are like, Nis vezeli singa, and they take out their guns, and yeah, all hell breaks loose. Shots fired, and then shots are just getting fired, and everyone's running every direction, and the younger brother, Majola brother, gets shot, and yeah, it ends there. And then it's episode 3. Episode 3 is the date. Guys, this is my favorite episode. Like, the date, and it opens up with the rank scene again. The guns going off, and the brothers realize that their brother has been shot, and Nkosana's like, Majola, we need to stop this. Can we do this another time? And Kwaza's like, yeah, nang nomfethu sekatubulekile. And yeah, they run, they take their brother, they put him in the taxi, and yeah, they drive off. And then it goes to Hlomu at her place. She's getting ready for work, Nosandile, and she's narrating again. Ati, hey, and Hlomu is like, Sandile, how long is this thing gonna go on? And she's like, I don't know, Hlomu. And she's like, I need you to tell me. And he's like, what do you want from me? And he's like, I need you to tell me that you still love me and you still want to get married to me. Girl, you shouldn't be asking for that. A man should really just want to marry you and just marry you. This one is not serious. And then he says, I'm not going to throw away all the work that we have done and all the years we've spent together just because you feel like you want to get married. And then she's like, defeated, and she's like, no, you know what, I need to focus on making sure that we have enough money even after marriage. And then she's like, then what am I supposed to do? And he's like, carry on with the planning. And she's like, okay, then give me a date. And she's like, you know what, set it yourself. Basically, my film was getting married to herself at this point because this nigga is not involved whatsoever. So he's like, I know, I have to go to work, and he leaves her there. And then it goes to Ngoba's Tavern, and Mandisa is beating up some girl. Well, I guess it's a girl that she found with Ngoba. She is beating her up, and Mqhele and them are just like, Mandisa, we don't have time for this. So they separate them. This girl runs off, and Mqhele is just like, Ngoba, calls out for Ngoba, and Ngoba comes out and is like, oh, Makem, it's a good thing that you're here because Mandisa. And the first thing Mqhele does is smack him, and he falls, and then he stands up and he's like, Nkosana, you are allowing him to hit me. And Nkosana also hits him, and he's like, holds him here. So this whole time Mandisa's sitting and is watching this, and Nkosana holds him here, and he's like, you know what, I told you about this thing with the Majolas to leave it, but when, because you don't listen, you went and you started a fight. And I think the only thing that's going to solve this is if we break everything that is here, because yule equally like hand. And he's like, you won't do that. And he's like, oh, I won't. And Mqhele drops the first bottle. And Ngoba starts screaming, Mqhele! 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 And Mqhele just like dropping bottles. He just keeps on dropping the expensive bottles. And Ngoba is losing it. And somebody's like, you better go your pants. Guys! Someone's like, calm down. Calm down. And yeah, drop everything, and then they leave him. They leave him there. They leave him there with his bottles. It goes to Mqhele and Nkosana. It goes to Nkosana paying the drivers money, and yeah, all of them. And as the last one leaves, like, oh, thank you, Mageba, the Majolas were not paying us as well as you do. Nkosana's like, oh, thank you for job well done. And he leaves, and Mqhele's just like, Mageba, I don't understand how we paying these drivers for a job they haven't done. And then Nkosana's like, they are hired to work full month, so they need to get paid ngokuphelele. And he's like, yeah, I understand that, but if we do this, we're gonna end up not having any money. And Nkosana's like, it's not about the money, it's about loyalty. So that's what this is. And then he's like, oh, okay. And Mqhele leaves. Nkosana gets a call, and then it goes to the house, and it goes to Ntiga saying, I don't understand why we have to be in this house instead of being outside. Yo, this one talks too much. He talks too much. So he says that, and the other two co-sign it. And Nkotka's just like laughing about how the younger Majola brother is dead, and how they shot at them the night before. And Kawe is just like, I fall off when. And yeah, he's like, no, like, it's not even gonna get that far. We just need to go and finish them off. So as he's talking, Nkosana walks in, and he's like, I don't understand you guys. Ubaba ngabe uyaphenduka hearing what you guys are saying, because the person who died is as young as you guys are. So like, the fact that you are making it a joke and you're laughing about it, I don't understand. And God tries to talk, and Nkosana holds him, grabs him, and smashes him by the wall, and he's like strangling him. And Kawe comes and is like, no, Buti, like, let him go. He didn't mean it like that. And Nkosana does. And then he's like, we need to be careful, and we must not be celebrating that a person is dead. And I need to go to Bamajola because he called me, and I need to apologize. And Kawe's like, what if he doesn't accept your apology? And he's like, he has to. And then it moves from them, and it goes to Mandisa and Ngoba at the tavern. Mandisa's cleaning, and Ngoba's just like, Mandisa, go no clean. Like, it's been an hour and you've been moving the same bottles, 3 bottles. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're so useless. And Mandisa's like, nah, useless. Hi, don't speak like that, because when your brothers were here, you were the one who was useless. Now you're suddenly talking like you're the brave. And Hlomu gets annoyed. He's like, what do you want me to call them? I can call them back. And he's like, let me do it. And he's like pushing her, and she's like, it's like, young better babe, young shy baby, young shy. And Nova's just like annoyed with her, and then she kisses him and she laughs, and she goes and she sits down and she's like, clean up, baby. Nova's just like, oh my goodness, what did I get myself into? And then it moves from Ngoba, and it goes to Majola, Bab Majola, and he is loading his gun. So yeah, it shows him, and then it goes to Hlomu, and she's leaving work, and she's just like, ooh, I can't wait to sing Tobe. So as she is turning the corner, she's like, what? You have got to be kidding me. And then she walks towards Mqhele's taxi, and she looks inside, and she's like, hayi bhuti, lo mzamo wakho uyachaza, kodwa bese ngishilo ukuthi nginomuntu futhi engiserious naye. And then he's like, kodwa nami ngiqinisile ukuthi ngizimisele ngawo. And she looks away. And then she looks at him. And then he's like, uma ukuthanda wena kuyiphutha. Hayi ngamane ngihlale ephutheni. Girl, what do you say? She has no rebuttal. She tries not to blush, but then she does. And then she looks at him and she's like, "Usuhleli isikhathi singakanani la?" And he's like, "Impilo yami yonke." And then she's like, and he's like, "Oh, usho namhlanje. Sukele emini." And then she's like, "Okay ke. Ngungenzani?" And he's like, "Uqinisile?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, get in the taxi, babes, get in the taxi." He opens the door for her and she gets in and he's like, "Uhleli kahle?" And she's like, "Yeah, ngihleli kahle." Like she always catches herself like smiling and like blushing, and she's just like, and then she shakes her head. And then he's like, "Ayinganazi ke phela nina." And then he gets in the car and they drive off. And it goes to them again, and they are entering this building, and he has his hands in his pockets, in his pants, and yeah, he walks in, and this girl's like, "Ah, Mr. Zul," and he's like, "Yebo ayand," and she's like, "Let me show you to your table." I'm like, this man knows tables, he knows places to take girls. Ow. So yeah, they walk to the table, and then Anne is like, "Your waiter will be with you in a minute, so you can take a seat." She's like, "Okay." Pulls the seat for her. Guys, chivalry is not dead with Mqhele Zulu. Like, he is a gentleman. He knows what he needs to do. Pulls the seat for her. She sits down. She's like, "Thank you." And then he also sits, and Hlomu was just like, "Where is this place?" And he's like, "La kusegoli la ntokazi." And she just smiles, and then she's like, it's very nice. Like, it's a very nice place." And he's like, "Yeah, no, this place reminds me of my parents. Back in the day, my dad, when he would not be working, on Sundays, on days he wouldn't be working, I think on Sundays, he would just like play his old school music and open the radio up top and just like listen to his music, and how he loved old school music." And then he keeps quiet, and then he orders a drink for Hlomu and him. Ganjani, guys. You know, when he did that, I was just like, Ganjani, because Mqhele did not want Hlomu drinking. The first time he saw her drinking, he was like, "Gandiapuz." And that was when Langa was visiting Hlomu. And then she had to lie. She was like, "Oh no, it's only because Langa's here." But he is ordering her wine. You. So yeah, he does, and yeah, and as they're waiting there, Msaki comes, and Hlomu was just like, "Aibo, kusiyena Msaki no?" And Mqhele is just like smiling at her, and she's having like a moment, like a celebrity moment. And then Msaki introduced herself, and then she thanks the space and how she's going to be singing the song. And then yeah, Mqhele is just like looking at Hlomu, and she's just like smiling and laughing and giggling. And yeah, Msaki starts listening, singing, and she's just like, she's giddy. She's so giddy, man. Like, she's like this. That she's that girl. And Mqhele is just like looking at her. The way he's looking at her, guys. Can somebody's son look at me like that? It had a little bit of possessiveness in it, but like he just like, he was not seeing anything better than her. Like, it was literally, she is it, and nothing else is there after her. So yeah, Saki's singing there, and Hlomu is laughing, and they're having like a little dialogue, and they're giggling. And then she stands up and she starts dancing, and she decides he needs to join her. She offers her hand, and she pulls him up, and he's just like looking at her. Like, guys, the look of love is in his eyes, and he's looking at her, and they just like dancing there, he's touching her. Like, there's those moments, guys, like it looked like that's her man. Like, he was holding her and she was holding him like he is her man. And then she's like, oh, Hlomu, wenzani, nomageza, unonqomo. And as they are having that moment, he goes to Budomdala, he's in the car and he's calling Mqhele. Mqhele is not answering because Mqhele is busy with the girl. And he leaves a voicemail and he tells him that it's a long thing. I don't really remember all the stuff he said, but he basically ends it with saying that he is now the man of the house and he needs to take care of all his brothers, which I don't understand why Mqhele had such a power over everybody else except for, and where is he is the third born and Ngoba is literally nowhere to be seen. But yeah, and then it goes to Mqhele and Hlomu. Now they are returning back from their date and they're laughing and Mqhele is like, I need to take you to this one place. And Hlomu, to this one place where they play umaskandi throughout. And Hlomu's like, Aibo, so for you go dance and I'm and he's like, yeah. And he tries to open the door and he's like, nkosazana ungazivuleli isicabha ungafuni umosha usuku lumnandi ngokuzivulela umnyango. And he goes and he opens the door and Hlomu is just like, thank you. And they're laughing and he's like, there's so much that I want to do for you only if you'd let me. And she's like, I don't think that I can see you again. And he's like, ave unlizo endle Mqhele, but ngikutshelile ukuthi nginomuntu engiserious ngaye and I hope uzomthola umuntu okufanele ngebhadi akusimi. And then she walks away and he just looks at her and he walks away. Then he goes to Nkosana and he's knocking at the door. Majola lets him in, his bodyguards, and he says to them they need to leave so he can have a conversation with this man. And they leave. He sits down and Nkosana apologizes. The first thing he does, he apologizes for his brothers, that it wasn't their intention to kill his son. And he's like, yeah, his son was not an animal, he was not whatever, but the way that he was killed, blah 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 blah, and how it's now at least ngeso. So Nkosana's like, yeah, that's why I'm here. And he's like, no, I don't want you, I want one of your brothers and you must choose which one that I can kill. Nkosana's like, angizwanga. He's like, yeah, iso yes, you must bring me one of your brothers. And Nkosana's like, hi, angeke kenzakale lokho. And he's like, you can't say that. And he's like, I promised my parents that I will protect my brothers. And he's like, I don't care about what you promised your parents. I want you to bring me one of your brothers. And Nkosana's just like, what the F? That is not happening. He acts on impulse. He takes a spear that is on the table and he stabs the dad with it on his side. He literally gets it in, guys, gets it in. And then it moves from there, it goes to Hlomu and Sandile. So Hlomu's getting in the house and she's like, Sandile. And she's calling out to him and he comes out. He has a mask on his face. So he's doing self-care. And then he says to her, I got someone to cover my shift for me so I can be here so we can spend time together. So let me just go and and then I'll come back and we will sit on the couch and cuddle. And she's like, okay. And then as he goes to the bathroom and starts talking and he says, Yaz namhlanje being the patient Diami who's been married for 45 years. And then there's a knock on the door. So Mqhele's like, and then she walks to the door. He is talking. She opens the door. Doesn't Mqhele Zulu walk in? And she's just like, and then she looks at him and he is literally walking in and she moves back and she looks at his mouth and he looks at her and yeah, they just start kissing. Guys. I was like, this man, no respect for Usandile whatsoever. Starts kissing her and suddenly is talking in the bathroom. He's like, yeah, isn't the bengizisho, bengirongala isn't the bengizisho, kuthi awufunilala nami. And I'm thinking, he's like, the nice thing is that you are, you haven't been touched by any man. You're so innocent, undefiled. I'm like, she's getting defiled right now. And you are in the same house. So Hlomu is melting in this man's arms, like he is just like kissing her and feeling on her. Siyafilan, she was feeling something different when Mqhele was kissing her. So yeah, Sanil is talking and talking, and as he says, yo, I can't wait until our wedding night. And then she wakes up and she's just like, Mqhele, you need to go. She pushes Mqhele out, and then she closes the door and she cocas her moya again. And then she walks down and Sanil is like, Bogubando. And she's like, begu, Mr. Jacobs. The lies. And it's like, oh, and it's like, yeah, and he's like, oh, okay. And then he's like, come here, smell this lotus flower balm. And then they sit on the couch and he tells her how he loves her. And then she also says, Nam ngiyakuthanda. And then she says, oh, Hlomu, sinking in. She's not lying about that. She is definitely in trouble because she's into this guy, like she likes this guy, and now she's kissed him and he has made her feel things that she hasn't felt before. I mean, is something totally different from what Mqhele and her just did, and him taking out on that date and the connection. So yeah, like yeah, I was done. Episode 3, I was like, yes, Mqhele, my fighter. Mqhele is my fighter, so I was like, him for the win, of course. But yeah, that's how episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3 went. Next week is going to be episode 4 and episode 5. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to comment down below, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thank you guys for watching.